The Maine legislature passed an emergency measure in June, making the sale and trafficking of bath salts illegal in Maine. Governor LePage is now trying to strengthen that law. Rob Poindexter shows us why those in law enforcement say the state's bath salt law needs more teeth.
This is certainly one of the most dangerous things that I've seen in my career.
Public Safety Commissioner John Morris says the bath salts epidemic in Maine is getting worse every day.
The only thing I can relate this to would be the older people in your audience, if they remember Timothy O'Leary and acid. It's creating the same kind of bizarre behavior.
Morris says police are accustomed to dealing with bizarre behavior, but not like this.
But this is absolutely beyond bizarre, suicidal, homicidal activity that you just cannot explain.
In June, emergency legislation was passed making the sale or trafficking of the powerful hallucinogen against the law. But that law has done little, it seems, to deter those using or making money off the sale of bath salts. Fairfield Police Chief John Emery says they spoke to a known bath salts dealer in his community and warned him about the new law.
In fact, we told him that the law would be going into effect. We spoke to him a week prior to, and then my detective revisited him the day that the law was signed.
Police say that warning didn't stop 59-year-old John Linscott. After a 2-month investigation by Fairfield Police and the Somerset County Sheriff's Department, police say they seized 165 packets of bath salts valued at $12,000 from Linscott's Fairfield business. Police charged Linscott with trafficking in bath salts.
Right now, he was charged with a Class E misdemeanor. You're looking at possibly a little jail time, a fine.
At the time of that raid, police say Linscott told them about another shipment of 90 packages of bath salts he was expecting. Less than a week later, police were back at Linscott's business and they found out Linscott wasn't entirely honest about that shipment. Police say they wound up seizing 200 packages of bath salts. Police say the summons they gave Linscott during their initial raid didn't scare him out of the bath salt business.
A summons, quite frankly, is nothing more than the cost of doing business. You just add on the fine to your distribution costs, and then you just raise the price a penny or two, and away you go.
It's nice to have the law, and it was obviously needed, but the law needs more teeth. It truly does, and I think that's the only way we're really going to get a grip on it, is to make it a more serious crime.
Governor LePage says he's heard the voices of frustrated law enforcement officers.
We need to make it tough. We need to make it an arrest. We need to, and if you continue doing it, we need to make it a felony, and we need to get serious about this drug.
Under the governor's proposed new legislation, if a person is convicted of possessing bath salts and it's a first offense, it would be considered a Class D misdemeanor crime, punishable by up to 364 days in jail. If they have a prior felony conviction or have committed a felony while possessing bath salts, it would be considered a Class C felony offense, punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Trafficking in bath salts would be a Class B felony offense, punishable by up to 10 years behind bars.
If you're just a kid and you're trying it out, it's a misdemeanor. But if you're caught trafficking or you've had some drug problems in the past, it's going to become a very serious offense.
Some lawmakers have expressed concern over the cost of stiffer penalties, particularly the cost of locking up the offenders.
And my problem with the way they're doing it right now is, what price do you put on a life?
John Morris says if lawmakers only look at the cost of incarceration, that would be a mistake. He says the cost of doing nothing would be much higher.
And those millions of dollars, those costs are in the emergency rooms in the hospitals, the rehabilitation of people who become very sick, the municipal overtime costs for police officers who now will have to remain in hospitals with these people who are demonstrating this bizarre behavior.
And those costs could go way beyond dollars and cents.
Because I'm telling you right now, I am scared. If we don't put a stop to this, we're going to lose some young people this year. High school students, college students. We are going to lose people if we don't get this stuff off the street.
The legislature is scheduled to take up the proposed bill during a special session September 27th. Rob Poindexter, WABI TV5 News.
Now, before we talk about what the governor and Commissioner Morris had to say, we want to share with you what Jesse, the former bath salts user, had to say about making the drug illegal.
As of July 1st, it became illegal, but it's still, possession is only a civil offense, and trafficking is only a Class E misdemeanor, so it's literally a slap on the wrist. But I don't think they're going to be able to squash it, and I think that as soon as it becomes illegal, it's only a matter of time before a slightly tweaked, slightly different version shows up.
We heard from the governor, we heard from Commissioner Morris, we heard from Fairfield's police chief. What are your thoughts on what they're saying about strengthening these laws?
I completely agree with them. I concur with their thoughts and their opinions on this issue. The governor obviously understands the impact that this drug has on society, and Commissioner Morris has indicated that he fears that some of our youth are going to die from the use of this. I concur with that. It scares me to think that this is out there and that it has this extreme potential to kill people, just the user who's taking it looking for the high. And we need these laws. We need these improved laws to help us combat this.
Increasing the penalties, I think, is an important component to combating bath salt, but it cannot be the only component. It's treating any substance abuse as a multidisciplinary approach, including law enforcement, medical community, and the substance abuse counseling folks. I think what we need to do is also combine that at some point with increased funding for substance abuse treatment, because you can make that illegal, but they can't get treatment. They're just going to be locked up, whatever it is. So I think we need to have a simultaneous approach to help those folks.
I agree with the both of them. I mean, it has to be both. The law has to be increased, and then we do have to have that treatment. If they don't, it will be a reoccurrence, and it will affect our jails and whatnot, and not without them getting any treatment while they're in the correctional facilities.
Does it worry you that even making this illegal and making the punishment harsher, that something else is just going to come along, we're going to have to go through this process again?
I think that's a given, quite frankly. We have seen new drugs come on the market time after time. I don't think that's going to end, and I don't say that just being a pessimist. I think it's just a fact. It's taken quite some time. This drug was synthesized years and years and years ago, and it's taken this long to actually migrate from Asia to get here, and we're now seeing it. I hope that the next drug takes that same amount of time. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I am sure that we're going to be dealing with drug problems from as long as I'm around.
Going back to what we said earlier, it's a public health issue. I mean, just like people before, when they treated smallpox, it didn't mean now they don't have to worry about any more public health infections because there are other diseases come along. I think what we need to do is have a system that could be very vigilant to pick up these things when they happen, immediately jump on board and try to tackle it. I think that's the best way to combat a disease, which is what this is.
Have you seen a lot of the community getting involved in this? I know we say the community needs to be educated, but is the community part of the community trying to take a stand against this and trying to help out?
I think they are. With the contacts that we've had at our office, and I know with the other departments, and I absolutely think the community is concerned about this. And in recent forums, looking at the versatile groups that have come, people that have not been involved in the drug culture and whatnot, showing up because they're concerned. I think that's going to have some impact. I hope it does, and that's why we want to be part of these forums. Make sure that people do get involved and understand how serious this really is.
I too believe that the community has been getting involved. I think they continue to need to get involved more so than what they are already. We as a police department, the medical profession, we can't do this alone. This needs to be a partnership between the community and the police department. It is not the police department's sole responsibility. It's not the sole responsibility of the medical community. It's got to be a full community.
Again, we only treat them for that short period of time, or they have their interaction for a short period of time. The rest of the time, they're going to be back in school, in the community groups and churches or whatever it is. So those are the folks that are really going to be doing the treatment, not us.
What do you say to people who say, what has happened to Bangor? Or say they're scared to be here because of all this that's going on? It's all we hear about.
The streets of Bangor are still safe. Bangor has been rated at one of the safest communities and municipalities of its size. That hasn't changed. But we have some drugs out there that we need to be cognizant of and that we need to be proactive about. And is there a potential that somebody is going to encounter somebody else who's on bath salts? Yes. And that's why we need to be diligent. That's why we need to be out there encouraging people to report those types of incidents. It doesn't mean that everybody who's on bath salts is going to be a threat to somebody, but it's important to realize what this drug can do, what the potential of it is, and what the unpredictability of it is. Once people realize what that is, and they understand it, they're going to be a little more comfortable about being out. People should be able to feel comfortable walking out on the street at night. The drug is not at that level where you just can't walk out because you know you're going to get attacked. That is not the situation. Bangor is still a safe community.
You know, I moved up here a year and a half ago from D.C. and I lived in New York City earlier. I come here for quality of life, and I still believe this is a good place for quality of life, and I want to make sure it stays this way, and that's part of the reason why we're doing this.
And I agree. I mean, and shame on us that we know that there's a problem and that we don't address it. We could just turn away and look at that this is not an issue and not address it at all, and bad things will happen. So we have to be on the forefront of this and make sure that we're addressing it properly.
We are nearing the end. We have about a minute and a half left. Quickly, what do you hope people take away from this?
I hope they take away that they need to be educated. They need to educate their children. Now is the time. Now is the time to be proactive. Now is the time to talk to the children. Now is the time to educate themselves. I also want people to understand that if they come into contact with somebody, don't become confrontational. Call the police. By experience alone, we've become the experts at dealing with this. Let us deal with it. Don't take any chances. Just give us a call. We can deal with it appropriately, but you need to give us the chance.
I agree with the chief, and I think the other thing too. This is Bangor. We need the community to help us with this, you know. And I can't say that enough times. And we can't do it alone. So whatever you guys, you know, the community can help us with, they'll be wonderful.
I don't want to say it again, but it's a community problem.
Yeah.
It truly is a community problem. We need to work on this together. It's first and foremost, there's medical and psychiatric issues that come around with people that are under the substance, and then there's the violation of laws. If we come together a community and we educate our children and educate ourselves, I think that we can maybe make a change in this.
Thank you. Thank all three of you for joining us. Thank you at home for tuning in and joining us. We're trying to educate you. That is the goal. That's what we want to do. This show will also be on our website, wabi.tv. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.